What's going on, guys, and welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And, I used to put a lot of work into my episodes. I used to make sure that they were all perfect and would cut out any errors and issues. But as a smaller channel, I've realized that while that's important, it is kind of, at the end of the day, a big waste of time. And there's been a recent article from The Verge that kind of exposed what's going on with YouTube and how behind the scenes they're kind of screwing over a lot of YouTubers, especially smaller channels. So I wanted to take the time today to go over that article and talk a little bit about it, give you my side of it, how I feel, and why I feel like this channel isn't really long for success, to be honest. Now, I'm going to start out with Twitter, where I found the video from Grumpy Munchkins, who shared this initially, and it's a fantastic read, something that I'm going to go through in this episode, but I do encourage everybody to take the time to check it out for themselves. I had Kentantino ask me if I could do a video on this, and I was like, I don't think I was going to, but when he wrote that, I was kind of like, you know what? Yeah, this kind of deserves a video because it's that groundbreaking. It's a very big deal. And I'm not going to really do many edits in this video because I just want to kind of give you my raw feelings on the entire situation. Now, here's the article from The Verge. The golden age of YouTube is over. The platform was built on the backs of independent creators, but now YouTube is abandoning them for more traditional content. Not really that much of a surprise to most people who have been in YouTube for the past few years, but the actual putting it words to paper kind of thing here, it hits home a little too hard. It talks about Michael stares in amusement. Logan Paul, perhaps YouTube's most notorious character, laughs on the other side of the desk as they're sitting a podcast impulsive. And they're talking to the Paul brothers. Initially, it starts off with Logan Paul, but talks to both of them about how they've grown in their success on YouTube and how it's not really fair. This is the death of YouTube. I'm not going to go through each moment of this. Like I said, I encourage you guys to read this on your own. But the overall synopsis of this is basically saying that YouTube is focusing so much on the heavy hitters that they're forgetting the people who have created the platform in the first place, and that is the individual unique content creators. And I guess for this video, I'm not going to be speaking directly too much to the article. I'm going to be more reacting to when I read this last night and again this morning, my feelings to it overall, and why I feel like YouTube on the whole is entered a downward spiral that is really going to be challenging to come out of, if at all. It's going to be one of those, there's going to be someone else that takes the place of YouTube eventually. In fact, it probably already would have happened if Google didn't purchase YouTube, but Google owns such a stranglehold of the internet that whatever you search for, it comes up in the Google search, and they're always going to prioritize their engine of YouTube as the videos that get seen first. So anybody who tries to enter the space is going to have to find a way to overcome a company that basically owns the internet. Now, as far as YouTube is concerned and the battle of misinformation catastrophes, it was talking about how creators have to constantly one-up themselves to get attention. And YouTube was founded on basically people just sitting and talking to their cameras, like I'm doing right now, and just basically reacting to life, reacting to situations, and what makes them special, what makes them unique, what the draw to that person is, whether it's some profound information or some unique entertainment that they provide to the space that no one else was bringing. But YouTube's kind of morphed into this feeling of corporate. And if you're a small creator, you can't keep up with that. You used to be able to just pick up a cell phone and record yourself. Hey, here I am recording myself. Oh, upside down. Recording myself, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'm on YouTube, everyone. Hey, I'm doing a vlog and I'm talking about random stuff and you should pay attention to me because I'm putting myself out there. Which brings me up to, who was it? I think it was NESologist on Twitter. Made a really good comment. I used to have a channel 10 years ago, and I would upload little videos every so often. They would get hundreds of views. Nothing crazy, but it felt satisfying. Now a video I put hours and hours into gets maybe 6 views, 20 if I harass people into watching. It sucks. And then he goes on to say, I might be done with YouTube. There has to be another platform to use. And I mean, he makes a really valid point. And he speaks to what a lot of small creators have been telling me. I feel like while I'm not a large creator by any means, I look at myself as an advocate for the small YouTube community because I know the struggle that I had to deal with to get to where I am at right now, which is just over 8,000 subscribers. And it's been a grind. Like, I've worked way harder on this than I have ever worked on any job I've ever had in my entire life. And that's because I looked at it as an investment in myself, as something that I wanted to make successful, and the more effort I'd put into something, the more I'd get out of it. And this article goes on to talking about how that's exactly what's happened with YouTube. Let me find it here. It talks originally about how PewDiePie posted a video detailing how changes had dropped his viewership numbers. He'd been getting 30% of his traffic from YouTube's suggested feed, but after the apparent algorithm update, the numbers fell to less than 1%. Felix jokingly threatened to delete his channel as a result, which was enough to get YouTube to issue a statement denying that anything had changed. Which I think if anyone out there, if you're a creator, you know it's kind of BS anytime YouTube steps up and says, we are denying anything you're saying, because the numbers don't back up what they're saying. So they're basically lying and manipulating their entire system to get the results they want, and then when they get called out on it, they just continue to lie further. The denial sidestepped questions the algorithm specifically and spoke instead to subscriber counts. These perceived secretive changes instilled creators with a distrust of the platform. It also led to questions about their own self-worth and whether the energy they were spending on creating and editing videos, sometimes north of 80 hours a week, was worth it. Now, this is why I bring this part up. I've never spent 80 hours per week on a single video, but there have been times I've spent 80 hours a week on multiple videos, and as a small channel, that's kind of the way to any sort of chance at success. If you spend 80 hours plus on one single video, that is literally putting all your eggs into one basket and just sending that basket away and hoping that it gets picked up virally. And if it doesn't, you've just thrown away a lot of time in your life. Now, some people might look at that and say, well, it's your hobby. You shouldn't expect it to be successful. You should just do it for the fun of it. I get that. But anybody pouring that amount of time into something, they want it to be seen by people. They want to be recognized for it, especially if they do a good job on it. And YouTube has not been doing that lately. Ever since, was it 2015 or so, the algorithm shift and all these things this article goes into talking about, where the adpocalypse and everything, YouTube's shifted. It's created this atmosphere that's required creators to take less chances and rely more on what works and what's successful and copying what other people have been doing in the past. Anthony Padilla, co-founder of Smosh and one of the first big creators of YouTube, said in a recent video the changes had begun to affect his mental health. Initially, he said he saw a clear line between how much work he put into a video and how many views it brought in. So I associated that with more views meant that my effort paid off, he said. Then the algorithm appeared to change, and view counts went all over the place in ways that I couldn't make sense of. I could put hundreds of hours into working on something, and the views could be much lower than I was expecting. I would start to equate that with my sense of self-worth. And that's where you get this whole slew of videos coming out of YouTube burnout, and I'm done with this. I can't keep up with the machine. It goes into talking about Felix, PewDiePie, about how he even talks about YouTube burnout and how it's hard to create top quality content on almost a daily basis. We're talking 6 to 7 days a week, if not around there, to continue your channel's success and growth. And it's just not sustainable. And that at the end of the day, ultimately, that is the problem. It's this perpetual cycle of instability, instability. There we go. And unsustainability, where you will put all this work into your videos and not get the results, and you'll beat yourself up for it, regardless of if it's your fault or not. It's not, I'll tell you that right now. The YouTube algorithm is a beast that nobody can control, and it's something that YouTube themselves basically directs who they want to be successful, who they want to be popular, and everybody else just falls by the wayside and dies. And they don't care about that because they're making their money off of the big names. And they're turning into basically what cable TV is. That's what YouTube has wanted to be for a very long time. And it's ironic because that's exactly what separated YouTube apart from the other means of entertainment for such a long time. Now they're trying to go towards that, and in the process, they're completely disseminating their entire audience and who built the platform in the first place. It goes into PewDiePie, the Wall Street Journal, and his React video, and why he got dropped by Disney, and why YouTube canceled Scare PewDiePie, talking about everything that YouTube had done wrong, creating the first adpocalypse. Then it goes on to talking about when Vine went down, and all these superstars from Vine needed a platform to continue their success. So they were instant successes overnight, joining into YouTube's platform, completely leaping over everyone who's worked for years on YouTube, not getting anywhere when they already had success in the first place, which was one of my points back when I made my Jack Black video, which a lot of people misunderstood. They took it as jealousy. They took it as, oh, you're just not good. You're not as good as him. It's not, it doesn't have anything to do with if you're good or not. It has to do with the views that are available and the amount of people watching on the platform. And the more famous people that come to the platform, the scarier it gets for the individual creators out there, the small-time creators, because there's so much more competition. It's very top-heavy. It's going to be even more challenging to break into that and be successful in your own right, because people who have been successful in other areas of life are now invading the platform, or that's a negative word to say. They're now coming to the platform. As far as for me personally, I would never have done a video like this when I first started YouTube. I'd be freaking out that it was completely unscripted. I wouldn't have much of a direction to go in the video, and I wouldn't know how my audience would react to it. But I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, screw it. Like, what do I have to lose? Because first off, my videos aren't getting shared by the YouTube algorithm anymore. If I stop posting videos for 2 days, my channel dies. Like, on the spot, on the table, it's just dead right there. No views across the board. I'll post another video and it will shoot right back up, and there'll be views going on that, and maybe some views falling to the wayside on the other videos that I make because people are interested in my channel from seeing that initial take. But the problem I'm seeing, the more that I'm doing this, the more videos that I'm making, the less my videos are getting shared out by the algorithm, the less subscribers I've been getting. The more work I put into it has not equaled the results that I've expected from it. So it's very disheartening. It's depressing. It makes you want to stop. If I didn't have this burning desire to create videos, if I didn't have this drive to give me purpose with YouTube, I would have stopped a long time ago. And I feel like in a way that's a good thing, because it separates the people who aren't meant for this to the people who are meant for it. But then the people who really do want this to be a part of their life, really want this to be successful, and there are plenty of us out there, it doesn't necessarily mean you will be successful. And that is the problem with YouTube. There's no guarantee of anything, but they're requiring more and more out of each individual creator just to give you that chance at maybe being successful. Now, I know a lot of people are going to watch this video and they'll say, just look at it as a hobby. Look at it as something that, you know, you do for fun, and if it takes off, great, which I've said to a lot of people as well. But the problem with that is if you approach this as a hobby, if you just do it casually, it will never take off. I mean, there are exceptions to every rule, but for the most part, the only way your channel is going to take off is if you make this a life decision. Like, you do this, you eat this, you sleep this, you breathe this. YouTube is your life. And at that point, you're making videos all the time. You're engulfed by the hours it takes in filming and editing and scripting sometimes, and whatever you do, coming up with the ideas, you're thinking about it. Every action you do in your life goes to YouTube. And there's still not a guarantee for success, even at that point. But because there are so many people at that point doing that, that just approaching YouTube casually is not going to work for anybody. And that is a severe shift in how YouTube has worked in the past, where most of the people that got successful on the platform did it casually, did it for fun, did it as a hobby. I mean, even if you talk to PewDiePie, he does videos talking about how he got started just making videos and playing scary video games and did it for fun, and it kind of picked up traction and it kind of blew up from there. I mean, that's an extremely long story short, but you can't do that anymore because the people are already established. You can't break into a very tight-knit community of gigantic channels out there if you're doing something very basic, that there are hundreds of thousands, if not more, people doing the same exact thing on a daily basis. You need to do something unique. You need to do something that stands out. You need to present something to the viewers that no one else is doing, which is very challenging, or present it in a unique light that no one else is thinking of, which is the only angle that most people can find any kind of success with. But the problem I'm getting at with all of this is with the whole PewDiePie situation and all these large channels is they are already established. They are already able to pay for an editing team, pay for a studio, get set up with everything. Whereas the small channels, the smaller time creators don't have that luxury. They don't have that option to just, okay, let me turn this into my career and drop 25 grand on renting an office, paying it for an editor, paying for all this software, getting the computer set up there, getting all this. I mean, it is a gigantic investment. And you, even when you put that investment in as a small channel, there's no guarantee of success. So you would be crazy to do that and hope to be successful because of how the algorithm works anyways. So the chips are, the deck is stacked against you. The chips are all weighing on one side of the table, and you're trying to win this poker game with one chip in your hand while you're playing against all these other people that have stacks up to their eyebrows and weighing down the table. It's not a fair fight. And maybe that's what people want. Maybe that's what the audience is looking for. The general Joe viewer out there doesn't give a crap about the small channels. I've talked to my best friend, and he told me he doesn't really watch my videos anymore because they're not promoted by YouTube's algorithm, and he focuses more on what the constant stream of YouTube's main homepage is for him, because it's all he ever needs anyway, and he doesn't even have time to watch that. But when he does, he watches all of these big time videos that are well produced, tons of money put into them, people traveling around, spending money, showing off things that nobody else could possibly do or compete with. So I don't necessarily blame him. It would be nice if, you know, if your friends would watch all your videos, but that's a lot to ask from each person that's your friend, because if you're posting 5 to 6 times a week and each video is 10 minutes or more long because you gotta feed the algorithm, that's a lot of time to ask, a lot of commitment to ask from anybody, even your best friend. That's a ton of time to have them commit to just your channel. So there's a lot of things working against you. I could talk about this for 3 hours and still not even be close to getting to the bottom of it. And I don't want this video to be turned into a bitching session, but I can't even say that word anymore on YouTube. I know Boogie2988 had talked previously about how he needs to, what'd he say, retire Francis. Let me see if I can find what he said here. Okay, he's bringing Francis back, but he's delaying it. But he's limiting how much he can use Francis, because anytime he swears, his video is most likely going to be demonetized, which is crazy. YouTube basically emailed him when he questioned it, and they said, yeah, you swore in it, so it's demonetized. So it's almost like YouTube's turned into the Disney of internet, where you can't take chances. You can't take any risks anymore. You can't be who you are. You can't be yourself and hope your channel would make money on it. And people say, oh, well, don't try to make money off YouTube, or don't try to grow your channel. Who cares if it gets demonetized? But there's another thing with YouTube's lies where they say, oh, being demonetized doesn't lessen your video getting shared out there. But it does. It 100% does. It's been proven time and time again, even in my own stats I've seen, where when a video gets demonetized, the second it gets demonetized, the views go down to almost nothing. So it will be getting 30 to 60 views an hour, and then it will get 2 to 3. And that's it. Once they decide to demonetize it, the algorithm basically boots it and nobody will see it again. It's something that I never realized before I got into YouTube, how much this algorithm controls what people see. And it's kind of scary in a way, because it means YouTube, or Google proper, the owner, can direct traffic and knowledge and information and show how they want it to be shared and direct it in the direction they want it to be, and everything else just falls by the wayside. It's kind of scary that one company has this much power. I guess that's what I'm getting at. I would highly encourage you guys to check out this video, this article from The Verge, and talking about the future of YouTube and why it's kind of spiraling out of control. The golden age of YouTube is gone, and it's not coming back. I don't know what I'm going to do with my channel. I've created a website. I'm able to post videos on that. I'm able to do news articles. I'm able to highlight other creators. I'm trying my best to separate my brand from strictly being on YouTube, where it can actually grow somewhere else. But the problem is everything still directs to YouTube. And until you're getting shout outs from bigger channels, not just once, not just twice, but on a consistent basis, until that's happening, and then they're inviting you on their channel, they're actively promoting you, they're showing your link in every single video, and even then there's no guarantee for success. But if you are to that point with someone and you're able to grow that way, that's really ultimately the only way to do it. If you check out what is it, YouTube Gaming on Twitter, I've hit them up multiple times asking them to see what we could do about highlighting some of the smashing creators of the month, where I do this. Let me see, creator spot. Here's creator of the month, Ferris Wheel Pro. Here's the Hall of Fame smashing creators of all time, every creator that I've ever recognized since I started doing this. And I said, hey guys, I want to share these really good creators with you. I think it'd be really cool if you'd actively promote them or make them, you know, a creator on the rise. And they're like, cool, yeah, but we only really do creator on the rise for people that are hitting certain benchmarks in the algorithm. But the problem with that is the only way to hit these benchmarks with the algorithm is to get a shout out from a gigantic channel, and then get the views, and then people see you, start sharing you around, and then it will hit all those benchmarks, so that YouTube Gaming will say, okay, this is a creator on the rise, we're going to recognize them now. So it's almost like high school, where all the cool guys keep growing and the people who aren't cool or with the in crowd don't ever go anywhere, no matter how good their videos are. And I'm a gaming channel, so I focus this video strictly on gaming, but it applies across the board to YouTube in general. I think it's funny how they're talking specifically about 12 tips to turn your YouTube into a career. That is a very, very scary title. Coming from YouTube themselves, the Creator Insider, they're basically promoting the idea of making YouTube a career, which is just not feasible this day and age for the vast majority of people. You can try, but you might go bankrupt and screw up your relationship, and your whole life will fall to shambles, while having a small likelihood of somewhat being able to make a career out of this. It's just a very scary direction for them to be promoting. Summoning Circle, Pikmin 4. Watch Ant Dude's Pikmin 3 video to help tide you over. Ant Dude with 31,000 followers. Everyone they highlight. Relax Alex, 52,000 followers. Why, Sonic, why? I can tell you so many incredible creators that deserve to be recognized. So it's really frustrating when all they do is is highlight the gigantic channels to make them even more popular when these channels are already in the algorithm, getting massaged every day and getting views anyways. So it's the ultimate frustration, and it makes a lot of people want to stop doing this. I don't know. I think I said I'm ending this video like 5 minutes ago. So for those of you who still stuck around for the end of this, thanks. Let me know what your thoughts are on this article, what your thoughts are on YouTube in general, and where you stand on this entire issue. I'll leave it right there, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and you stay smashing.